I wanted to teach. I think when I was in primary school, I loved school. I was in Godric, and I kind of had an idea that that's possibly I wanted to do, but you don't really think too much about it at that point. And then when I was in year 7, I really didn't like RS at all. It wasn't a nice subject. The lesson wasn't as nice as what it was, and it was because of the teacher, I know. And then in year 8, I had Miss Hodson, who was at Cumtower School, who was incredible. And for my first lesson with her, I knew I wanted to be an RS teacher, like an RE teacher like her when I grew up. So it's from that point then, she just inspired me from that first day in year 8. And I was like, that's what I want to do. And as soon as I left school, I went to do my A-levels, religious studies, because I knew I wanted to teach RE. Did my degree, my teacher training, and then I've taught then. And now I'm back here in the school, one of the schools where Miss Hodson taught me. So yeah, that's for how long I wanted to teach, yeah. Religious studies. But I also loved art as well. And if I'm honest, at some points I didn't know if I wanted to be an art teacher or an RS teacher. I love drawing, I love being creative, but I can't draw people. I can draw like round, but it doesn't look like the person it should. So I felt like if I'm going to be an art teacher, that's not good, because I need to be able to draw people, I felt. And I felt with RS, it's all about being kind, understanding, and you can teach anybody to be kind, understanding and respectful. So I chose RS for that reason as well. And we went on little trips in school. My favourite one was to the synagogue in Swansea, and there's 13 of us that did GCSE full course RS. And myself, Miss Hodson and Mrs Davis and the other pupils on the minibus to Swansea, and honestly it was one of the best memories I have from school altogether, primary and secondary, was that little trip. But yeah, RS was my favourite. Teacher. It was the teacher that sparked my interest. So the first teacher I had in year 7, she was very much, it shouldn't have been as it was when I think back, because RS shouldn't have been like that then either, because it wasn't that long ago, such as 1994. And when I started, and she was a Christian who kind of tried to push Christianity on us, but she would tell us things like we were going to go to hell because we didn't read the Bible and things, which was, I couldn't understand that as being a non-religious person. I didn't see the value of the subject, if that makes sense. And then when we were in year 8 then, as soon as I had Miss Hodson, instantly, even though she was a Christian as well, I was like, oh wow, she was so fun, enthusiastic. And she helped us see RS was learning to be tolerant, understanding, kind, respectful, which is what I'm all about today. So I'm hoping that I've kind of followed in her footsteps. I'm continuing with that at Cumtower School, where she taught. So yeah. When I was in school, everyone did short course RS, but I took full course RS. So we all still went to the short course RS lessons, but we were able to have different exam boards then, because we weren't under qualification Wales. So we did short course WJC RS and then full course AQA RS. So GCSE RS, art, double science and history. They were my subjects that I took. Yeah. My favourite area to teach, there's so much of it, is probably the ethics side of things, which is things like looking at abortion, euthanasia, war, looking at the different viewpoints on it, IVF, those kind of things. And my personal favourite to teach, which we're just going to bring into the year 8 scheme of work after going to Amsterdam, is the Holocaust in Anne Frank. And I think that's because that leads into my whole purpose of teaching RVE and RS is about being tolerant and understanding. And I think we need to learn from Anne Frank and the things that happened in the Holocaust as we do with other things in the world, and I think it makes it real. And because Anne Frank was the age of the children, I think it's more authentic learning and so on, and it leads nicely then into the trip we do in year 9 to Amsterdam. Yeah. Teacher. Yeah, I did, like I told you before, I left teaching 8-9 years ago for a year when teaching got too much. I wasn't working in a good school, and I wasn't in a good place because of that mentally. And I went off to become a paralegal, where I was going to train to be a lawyer. And while I was doing it, I made such a song and dance leaving teaching. I didn't know how to tell my husband then that I wanted to go back to teaching. I was like, I've changed my mind, I want to go back. And when I told him, his response was, I know, I've been waiting for you to tell me. He said, I knew you were just always meant to be a teacher and you just needed that breathing space to go back, yeah.